Hello, and thanks for being with us here on the New Life Show, a series of talks with Dr. Michael Leitman. Hello, Dr. Leitman. Hello, everyone. Hello, Yael Shedarel. Hello. Today, we'd like to talk about what I think is the most important thing in life, the family. I can say personally that there's nothing more important for me in life than my family, my kids, my home. It's the safest, most exciting, best possible place. However, as we all know, the family is also a non-easy place, and we'd like to talk about it. We even celebrate here in Israel Family Day once a year, so we'll talk about what is the great charm of the family. This is our topic today. Yael, please. So today in Israel, there are about 2 million families. We know that in Europe and in the US there's a certain tendency that the family is weakening. But here in Israel, the family still takes up a very essential place in our life. Many values have changed maybe, but the value of the family, it takes up a very central place, and it's very important for us to have a family. We get married more than in other places. We get divorced less than in other places. We have more children per family than in other places. It's something which is very important for us. And on our show today, we would really like to crack the secret of what is it that's so important about the family for us. People, they get divorced, they get married again. They get divorced once, they say that's it. And again, they're attracted to that place of a family and have children again and so on. So this place that you want to come to at the end of the day and feel a feeling of warmth, quiet, calm, safety. I think it's a place we all really miss, and we're not willing to give it up. And before my first question, I'd like to tell you about a study done in 2007. A study where children from dysfunctional families were taken. Part of them were put into foster families. These are families that are willing to accept those kids. They're from a good social economical class. The parental capacity is good, and the child is taken from the broken family and put into this new family where he grows up. And part of the children were left in the dysfunctional broken families. It was a study of 15,000 children, a big research. And eventually the result is that the children which stayed in the broken homes were children that performed better. They functioned better in life. They kept their jobs for longer. They were less inclined to negative things in life, doing negative things. And eventually they lived a more normative life than those children which were absorbed in the foster families. And what I'd like to ask is, what is the secret of the family? What is it about a family which allows us to grow, which gives us that feeling, that thing that allows us to grow in life? First of all, we have to understand that it's something natural that happens also with animals to a certain degree, to the extent to which they need it, to the extent to which the offsprings need to develop in a family, the family exists. This is how it is in nature. And it's the same with us too. We can say that a person who's born and loved gets parental love, who care for him and put him on his feet, both physically and also giving him the right direction in life. A person gets his first habits, most fundamental habits in life that he can't get rid of by no means, because they become as an instinct, as an existing instinct. These are the values that stay immersed deep inside him. It could be good or bad values, it doesn't matter, but they speak out of a person, whether he wants it or not. He is drawn to form the same kind of family as he had, and after he already got married and has children, nonetheless, he is constantly reconstructing, recreating the way it was in his family, with his parents, and he wants to copy it and have the same in his family. It's very hard to get rid of it, regardless of the kind of relations a person had in his family. I'd say that a person is necessitated to repeat the same form he had, even if it was very unpleasant and he suffered from the way his family was and he doesn't want for it to happen with him. Nonetheless, he, against his will, approaches it. And it's very important for us to know that against his will, he's drawn to that same form, that same existence. Now, family. Family is, first of all, the mother, because he grows up on her hands. He grows up next to his mother's bosom, and for him, it's his whole life. Her smell, her warmth, it's everything for him. We see there are many nations where the mother, she carries her child around with her, on her back, or in front of her. He's on her all the time, and this is how he grows up. And we also see it on animals. This is how monkeys are. And I'd say that a person, when he grows up and when he's no longer needy of the family, he wants to go out, earn a living, care for himself, then from his mom, he passes on to his wife, to a family. This is how it naturally happens. And we see it also in the Torah, that there is a connection between the families, between the bride and the mother-in-law. That the bride comes to the house of the mother-in-law, and the mother-in-law teaches her what does the son like, how he likes it, and so on. So the son's wife, she copies from the house of his mother all the customs and tastes and all those things that are customary, that he's used to. If we ask, what kind of cuisine do you have there? It's according to the man. Somehow, the wife, she follows what the husband's used to. She has to learn from his mother, what is he used to, what does he like, meaning the man, he passes from his mother onto his wife. And the right wife is the one that keeps the same environment as much as possible, because he's already a grown-up, but as much as possible, that he feels that to some extent he is at his mother's house. Why is it important? That's how it is in nature. There's no important or non-important here. This is how nature is. This is how nature works. And therefore we have to first of all know that if we'll do this, things are going to be okay. The man, he doesn't appreciate the woman because she's beautiful or young. We know that all goes by. And of course, there will be arguments and disputes. That's life. This is how it is when two egoists are together. But the example that she passes on from his mother, it will position him towards her like towards his mother. He'll relate to his wife to some extent as to his mother, which means what? With appreciation and respect and warmth. It works so subconsciously. Subconsciously, it's according to the scent, to the inner instinct. And therefore, if we, nonetheless, want for this whole institution of a family, for it to exist, we have to explain these things to young couples and to try and have these kinds of circles where the brides really come to the groom's house and where the mothers teach them what he's used to. And it doesn't matter that maybe he's not at home for years now. He was a student someplace, maybe even overseas. It doesn't matter. Till the age of 15, he was at home. So the same atmosphere. The bride, it should be in her best interests to copy that to her house. What does it mean about him? For him it means continuity, that he is like in his mother's home. And then with the same appreciation, with the same even fear, respect, caution, he will treat her to some extent like his mother, subconsciously. He will want to have at home the same relations. He wants to be next to his mother. A man, he wants to be next to his mother. We think that the girls, they want to stay next to their moms. The boys, no less than them. Even though that they go far from home, but they take with them that same flavor, taste, which is the mother's home. And from the point of view of the woman, what does it look like? From the woman's point of view, it's less of a problem. The bride, you mean? Yeah. The bride, she has to try as much as possible to copy what's good for her future husband. And then everything will fall into place, and we will see excellent families. We see very conspicuous examples, such examples for families from the Torah, how it was with Yaakov and Rachel, how they come to Sarah, where the bride comes to the house of the groom, and there with his mother, she's with his mother and learns all these things. Going back to our times, the Torah, it seems to us as something very, it's something very natural, historic. No. Madam, so you can say the same about the family. What do we need a family for then? Let's be free with these, with those, we meet, have children. Whose are they? What are they? Doesn't matter. Let's make some kind of a, I don't know, kibbutz, I don't even know, collective settlement. What is that? A family is something natural. The most ancient thing dates before the Torah, and we have it to this day, and therefore the Torah, compared to the family, is something very young. Okay, and if looking from the point of view of the woman, you describe where the man takes that feeling of warmth from family. He'll be addicted to the family, he'll care for the family, he'll want to keep it, sustain it, he'll protect and keep it, really. If he'll feel, according to the smell at home, that it's the same food, that it's the same relations, according to the same tastes, he won't be able to leave it. And where does that same feeling awaken in a woman? With a man, I understand. As a result of the man being devoted to the family, caring for the family, she doesn't need more than that. A woman is much more practical, much more revolutionary than a man in this respect, by the way. She gives birth. It really changes her entire inner world. If the man's next to her, if he wants for her to be next to him, because she keeps his mother's home, then that's all she needs. You said revolutionary. How? It's not in vain that we see that they don't stay to live with the parents of the bride. She has the ability to get up, go to a new place, and so on. Yeah, because she has to build a new home. The home is the woman. It's not the man. Home is the woman and the family. The family is what you build inside that nest, the mutual relations. Does the blood connection have any meaning in the family? What do you mean by blood connection? I mean, today we see, for instance, families that adopt children. This is something very complicated, and I wouldn't go there. Just to add about why have a family at all, because eventually it's not in vain or simply so that we're experiencing a crisis in family life right now. It's in order to make a reevaluation, re-examination of our life, that we have to reach a state where we will decide that, like the family, the whole world has to be as one family. Meaning, we're coming to a crisis in the family, and it's happening more or less all over the world, and it will happen more and more until we decide that we have to decide that both the collective and also the individual have to be equal, meaning that we have to take care of the entire world as one family, where all of these billions, eventually they have to unite as one family. And then we'll be able to understand the kinds of principles that have to be also in the particular family. And how do the families have to be connected between them, where necessarily the approach after the crisis which we will experience, out of which we will understand that we need a new attitude. I'd say an ideological approach, a global, integral approach, where it's not that we have a family because here I smell the same food as I did at my mother's and I have the same habits and so on, but that I add to the family a higher value, that we create such relations in the family and between the families into a bigger and bigger family. You can call it a clan or an extended family, doesn't matter how you call it. That by that we're approaching a new life, we're advancing towards a new life, the revelation of a higher force between us. That if I and my wife are connected between us because of the children, habits, debts, life, and so on, then we have to feel the same way that we're also connected with other families by debts and advantages and disadvantages and all these things, because we came into a global world and we're accountable towards the force of nature or godliness. We have a general accountability towards this force, for all of us to be connected between the families as one family, so much. And therefore, this crisis which we're experiencing right now, after many blows, we'll have to decide, or by studying the matter, we'll have to decide that this crisis came in order to necessitate us to reach a new connection between us, that it's not enough to keep these things in one family. But even if in my own family I won't be able to have good relations and a good life and give the children the right kind of education, and me and my wife to live together in a good and warm and nice way, unless we decide that we have to reach this atmosphere in the entire world, or at least among our people. And correspondingly, we'll give our education, we'll determine our values, the values of our society. This is what children will study at school, in kindergartens. This will be the general atmosphere. It's going to be in the air. And therefore, I see the family as the mechanism which has to undergo a very serious revolution and bring us to a new place, a new way of looking upon nature, upon man on earth, the extent to which we actually have to change ourselves. Therefore, the family is the most ancient foundation that we've advanced with throughout our entire evolution, even when we lived on trees as monkeys. But now, we're undergoing a very serious, vast, essential change in this respect, and we're rising to a new level, the human level, meaning to become similar to the force of bestowal and love. In this future family that you're describing, you said that aside from everything that we know, that among the members of the family will dwell the higher force. What does it mean that in the future family will dwell the higher force? You don't mean religious families. No, 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 no. I mean that we will be connected between us, above our ego. What do you mean? It means that each and every family is only looking whether the neighbor's grass is greener. But before that, inside the family, you said that in the future family dwells the higher force. What is that? Man and woman, Shekhinah, godliness between them. This is the future of the family cell? Yes. That in the house the higher force is dwelling? Yes. What does that mean? The higher force is the force of love, of connection, of mutual bestowal, in which we are necessarily connected between us by ties which are higher than the animalistic level that we're on today. What do you mean? I mean that I don't only get a good, nice, and warm family nest, safe, that helps me in my days of weakness or old age, but by our relations, I build such a network of relations in which I discover the force of bestowal and love above our nature, which is called godliness. What you're saying is interesting because today in part of the families, even though that as if everything's fine, functioning and so on, there's sometimes a feeling that something's missing, that what's missing is a sense of family warmth, that everything's working fine, that why people get divorced. They feel that they have a certain emptiness that they can't fulfill, that they're incapable of fulfilling it. That it's like, I'm lacking something in the family. I don't have what I want. What? I don't know. And really everything's fine. And if things aren't fine, where will they be fine? But people get divorced because that connection that I'm talking about, the new kind of connection, is already necessary. But they don't know how to look for it, find it, and keep it. And therefore they get divorced. Can you explain a bit more about that new kind of connection? It brings them to a higher goal. that's worthwhile living for together. Because why live together if so? I can buy everything I need in the supermarket. I have a washing machine. Every evening I can maybe have another woman. And the kids, what do I care? I'll see them once a week. I don't see them more than that anyway, and so on. Meaning, what does the family add to my life? That we have reached a state where we really live a life of comfort. Everything's fine. So what's missing in today's family? What's missing now in our times is a higher goal, higher than simply sustaining ourselves on the animalistic level. In the family, we have to discover the speaking level, which is what? That between us, as it says, man and woman, Shekhinah, divinity between them, the revelation of the higher force, the revelation of the eternal, whole, and complete life that we can really come to as a result of the connection in the family and between the families, and so the entire world. You're saying that today a person feels empty even if everything at home is fine. He still feels that it's boring, something's missing because he's lacking that love that you're talking about? Yeah. But you're not just talking about love, you're talking about some higher force. The higher force is the force of bestowal and love. Means that it's higher than we are because we're in the opposite force, the egoistic force, where I love myself and don't love others. What will I feel that I don't feel today? You will feel a limitless life, a life full of all pleasures, tastes, where you will wish to continue. And life is worthwhile living, and your family and the rest of the families are connected in a way that you have a safe life, happy life, limitless. And the children are educated and grow up correspondingly. But this is something that we'll have to come to. Okay, would love to come to that, but we'll have to talk about it on our next show. Thank you very much, Dr. Lightman. Thank you, Yael. Thanks for being with us. Till next time, all the best.